ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सागरललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नमिनि। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्यता दिशतारिणि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। नमो ब्राह्मण देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगत हिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय ते नमः। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमः। हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा। I welcome everyone. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I
Hare
think
Krishna.
I'll go directly for the class. Having a bad nose, I will be able to say Kirtan. Anybody who would like to say Kirtan? Neha Mataji, will you be able to say this Kirtan?
Yes, Mataji, until and unless they cry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Or some
No,
you
Mataji,
you
I
wish.
can. Now I can.
Yeah.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, हरे कृष्ण सभी को।
Yeah.
जीव जागो गौर चंद बोली। जीव जागो गौर चंद बोली। कत निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचर कोले। कत निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचर कोले। जीव जागो गौर चंद बोली। बुझिबो बुलिया ऐसे संसार भितरे। बुझिबो बुलिया ऐसे संसार भितरे। भूलिया रोइले তুমি আবিধার ভোরে। ভুলিয়া রইলে তুমি আবিধার ভোরে। জীব জাগো গৌরচন্দ বলি। তোমারি লইতে আমি হইনু অবতারা। তোমারি লইতে আমি হইনু অবতারা। আমি বিনা বুধুয়ারা কে আছে তোমারা। আমি বিনা বধুয়ারা কে আছে তোমারা। জীব जीव जागो गौरचंद बोले कत निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचर कोले जीव जागो गौरचंद बोले एने छी शुद्धि माया नाशी बारू लागी एने छी शुद्धि माया नाशी बारू लागी होरी नाम महामंत्र लो तुम्ही मांगी होरी नाम महामंत्र लो तुम्ही मांगी जीव जागो गौरचंद बोली कतो निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचर कोले जीव जागो गौरचंद बोले भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरणे पुरिया भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरणे पुरिया शेई होरी नाम मंत्र लोइलो मगिया शेई होरी नाम मंत्र लोइलो मगिया जीव जागो गौरचंद बोली कतो निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचर कोले जीव जागो गौरचंद बोली हरि कृष्ण 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 हरि 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 राम 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 हरि 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 कृष्ण 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 हरि 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 राम 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 हरि 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 कृष्ण 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 हरि 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 राम 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 हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण माता जी हरे कृष्ण everyone. I'll read the
Hare Krishna.
translation.
Very beautiful
Hare Krishna.
description, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation. Lord Gauranga is calling. Wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping souls. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the world of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, you have no friend in this world. I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's feet having taken this Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we were doing the prayers of ladies of Hastinapura, na? Women of Hastinapura.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, 2 shlokas left. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 10, verse 24. Sava, Sava, Sava ayam sakyanugita satkatho vedeshu guhyechu saguhyavadibihi ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srijati avati yattina tatra sajjate. Sava ayam sakyanugita satkatho
Savayam Sakyanugita Satkatho
Vedeshu guhyeshu cha
Print out अपने ना
guhyavadibihi
लेते सही होता कौन सा हुआ
Vedeshu Guhyeshu Chaguhyavadibihi
ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya
Ekaisho Jagadatma Leelaya
srijati avati yatina tatra sajjate.
Srijati Avatina Tatra Sajjate
Tava ayam saki anugita satkato
Sava Ayam Sakyanugita Satkatho
vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibihi ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srijati avati attina tatra sajjate. Yeah, Mataji, please read the translation.
Yes, Mataji. Translation. Oh, dear friend, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attract
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you are not audible. Are you all able to hear?
We can hear your voice,
Yes.
Mataji.
Yeah, Neha Mataji,
Hare
we
Krishna,
lost you.
Mataji.
Yeah, can you? Yeah,
Yes,
we
we can
couldn't
repeat
hear you.
it. Translation. Oh, dear friend, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastime are described in the confidential part of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world and yet remain unaffected.
Mataji, want someone else to read the puppet?
Mataji, I can. Hare Krishna.
Okay, okay.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literatures are glorifying the greatness of Lord Sri Krishna. Here it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam also. The Vedas are expanded by many branches and sub branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord like Vyasa, Narada, Sukadeva, Goswami, and the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlada, Janaka, Bali, and Yamaraja. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the confidential part of his activities are described by the confidential devotee Sukadeva Goswami. In the Vedanta Sutra or Upanishads, there is only a hint of the confidential part of his pastime. In such Vedic literature as the Upanishads, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane conception of his existence. His identity being fully spiritual, his form, name, quality, and paraphernalia, etc., but have been elaborately distinguished from matter, and therefore he is sometimes misunderstood by his intelligent by less intelligent persons are as impersonal. But factually, he is the supreme person, Bhagwana, and he is partially represented as Paramatma or impersonal Brahmana. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay, so the translation. Oh, dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world, and it remains unaffected. So we know that the Lord, though he is involved in all the activities, right? The creation, maintenance, and annihilation, but he remains unaffected. How? Because he is above that. He is the one who has created. No? So he is, even the three modes of material nature is created by the Lord, but he is unaffected by them. And any activity that he comes and performs in this material world, that is also, I mean, there is no, Krishna says that name karma nilibbati, name karma phale spruhas, means whatever he activities he does, there is no, like whatever we do for us, there is everything, either it is pious or impious, there is a account, separate account is kept for us. But then for the Lord, he is not attached to any activity, or there is no sin cannot touch him also, right? So here in the purport, Prabhupada explains that, I mean, of all the, all the Vedic literature, there is a glorification of the Lord, so the Supreme Lord Krishna. But of all the literature, the Bhagavatam is said to be the topmost, because it is said as Amala Purana, and also it is given, who has given this Bhagavatam? So Shukadev Goswami, who is said to be the greatest devotee of the Lord. And also because it is coming from him, from the mouth of Shukadev Goswami, it is said the Bhagavatam has become even more relishable, even by the liberated souls, right? So because Shuka means in Sanskrit parrot. So when a parrot tastes the fruit, no, it is said like the fruit is the most sweetest in the tree. So similarly, when Shukadev Goswami is also a parrot of Srimati Radharani. So hence, because it is coming from his mouth, it is more sweet. So it is said that Srila Vyasadeva, he has written all the Upanishads, and I mean, he has written all the Puranas. So after writing all Puranas, and still he was not happy, right? So he was contemplating, right? He has written the Mahabharata and everything, but then still he was not happy. Then he was thinking, what was the reason for his unhappiness? So then Narad Muni, no, his guru, like he comes there, and he tells him that it is because you have not glorified the Lord. And at that time, so it is said in his matured age, so I mean, not matured age, in this maturity, he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam Puran. That is why it is the highest and considered. So, whatever is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to take it as it is. So, and if we take different Upanishads, no, Upanishads also speak about the God, but there nowhere, if you take Ishopanishad, nowhere the Lord Krishna's name is not mentioned. It indirectly speaks about the Lord, but not directly. Like it is also a way to understand Lord. Like there are different people who approach Lord in different ways, right? Like the impersonalist, they like to worship God like in a just without a form, or they think that there is some power, like the but that is also is accepted by the Lord. Huh? But they don't. And the Gnanis, they are happy in speculation. So some people like to use their intellectual for realization. So they interpret, they go on interpret, and but then it will take many years, right? Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayur. What is that in Brahma Samhita? There is a shloka, right, which says that there is that, yeah, can see this shloka. Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo ratapi manaso munipungavana sopyasti yat prapadasini avichintya tatve govinda madhi purusham tamaham bhajami. What does it say? I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. So even by doing those process, by taking millions of years, they're only able to see the toe, tip of a toe of the lotus feet of the Lord. So why one should take so much of difficulty, right? Uh, so it's everything is Krishna only, but it is eventually all the path is leading to bhakti only. But then people take different paths because they like to study those things and they don't want to engage directly in the service of the Lord. So that is why they take many birth. No, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, like Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many lives, one come to understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not easy. So, but so we know, like even in the Krishna knows that not everybody comes to him. So that is why he gives the opulences. No, so many we see the 82 opulences of the Lord in the chapter 10. Krishna says that Rasoha Babsu Kaunteya. So I'm the water. I mean, I'm the taste in the water. So at least if you don't want to believe in the form of the Lord, you don't want to do service to the Lord, then at least when we drink water, so water is needed for every living entity, right? So at least that time we can remember the Lord. Krishna says, when you drink water, you remember me. Raso Bapsu Kaunteya. So Prabhasmi Shashi Surayoho. Krishna says, I'm the light in the sun and the moon. And in all the illuminatory things, that is, the light is coming from Krishna only. So, and in the fragrance, he says, I mean, in the earth, I'm fragrance. So whatever we see, when there is a rain, there is some fragrance. So that time we can remember. So that fragrance, the original fragrance is Krishna. So in many ways, even the atheist also can feel the presence of Lord. So whatever we see in this universe, right, we can think of Lord. So there, as we all know, that there are 3 stages of God realization. So what are the 3 stages? What is the first one?
Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
Yeah. So what is Brahman?
The effulgence of the Lord.
Yes. So the effulgence of the Lord, which is compared to, what is the analogy that Prabhupada gives for the effulgence?
The sunlight.
Yeah, the sunlight. So the sunlight is compared to the effulgence of the Lord. So there is a sun planet. The sun planet, there is a so the disk of the sun. Some people just believe that they see the effulgence, they see, okay, this is the Lord. But then still more understanding is the Paramatma feature that is compared to the disk. So when we go nearer to it, then we can see the shape of the disk. So similarly, we can see the four-handed form of the Lord. The yogis meditate on the four-handed form. So still further, if you go inside the planet, then there is a deity. So that is compared to the sun god is there. So that is compared to Bhagwan. So in Ishopanishad, there is a prayer where it is said that Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasyapi Hitam Mukam Tatvam Pushan Apavrinu Satya Dharmaya Drishyate. So it is said, O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So this is very clearly it shows that the God has a personal form, but that is not like a material form that we have. His form is spiritual, but it is covered by the effulgence. That is why he cannot see. So that devotee is praying to the Lord that please open up and then show me your form. So here the great devotees, Prabhupada mentions the great devotees who are empowered incarnation also, like Vyasadeva. So they all know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why we have to take the references from the acharyas and also from our scriptures to understand the Lord. So, and the third realization is the Bhagwan realization, right? So, yeah. So this Bhagavatam also. So the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So Bhagavad Gita is told by God Himself. It is said it is a song of God. But Bhagavatam actually it is told by in the glorification of the Lord is told by different devotees. So that is the difference between the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. You can see this is Vigama Kalpatarur Galitam Palam Shukabukad Amrita Dravi Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavakaha. So it said, O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of desired tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. So Shukadeva Goswami is son of Vyasdev. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarine juice was already legible for all, including liberated souls. So that is why of all the literatures and Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost literature. And it explains about the highest feature, that is the Bhagwan feature of the Lord. We'll go to the next one. Yada, verse 25. Yada hyadharveda tamodhiyo nrupa jivanti tatraisha hi satvata kila datte bhagam satyamrutam dayamyasho bhavaya rupani daddad yuge yuge. Yada hyadharveda tamodhiyo nrupa
Yada hi dharmena tamodhiyo nripa
Jivanti tatraisha hi satvata kila.
Jivanti
Yunti
tatraisa
tatraisa hi
satvata
satvata
kila.
kila
Datte bhagam satyamrutam dayam yasho.
Datte bhagam
Tatte bhagam
satyamritam
satyamritam
dayam
dayam
yasho.
yasho
Bhavaya rupani daddad yuge yuge.
Bhavaya
bhavaya
rupani
rupani
daddad
daddad
yuge
yuge
yuge.
yuge.
Yada hyadharveda tamodhiyo nrupa.
Yada
Yada hi
dharmena
dharmena tamodhiyo
tamodhiyo
nripa
nripa.
Jivanti tatraisha hi satvata kila.
Jivanti
Jivanti
tatraisa hi
tatraisa hi
satvata
satvata
kila.
kila.
Datte bhagam satyamrutam dayam yasho.
Datte
Te
bhagam
bhagam
satyamritam
satyamritam
dayam
dayam
yasho.
yasho.
Bhavaya rupani dadat yuge yuge.
Bhavaya
Bhavaya
rupani
rupani
dadam
dadat
yuge
yuge
yuge.
yuge.
Yeah, Bhakti-ji. Okay. Anyone else want to read?
Can I read, Mataji? Can I read?
Yeah, please. Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord, in his transcendental form, manifests his supreme power, the truth positive, shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages. Shall I continue with the
Yeah,
purport?
please. Yes,
Yeah,
Bhakti.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada. As mentioned above, the cosmic creation is the property of the Supreme Lord. This is the basic philosophy of Isopnishad. Everything is the property of the Supreme Being. No one should encroach upon the property of the Supreme Lord. One should accept only what is kindly awarded by him. Therefore, the earth or any other planet or universe is the absolute property of the Lord. The living beings are certainly his parts and parcels or sons, and thus every one of them has a right to live at the mercy of the Lord to execute his prescribed work. No one, therefore, can encroach upon the right of another individual man or animal without being so sanctioned by the Lord. The king or the administrator is the representative of the Lord to look after the management of the Lord's will. He must therefore be a recognized person like Maharaj Yudhishthir or Parikshit. Such kings have full responsibility and knowledge from authorities about the administration of the world. But at times, due to the influence of the ignorance mode of material nature, tamoguna, the lowest of the material modes, kings and administrators come into power without knowledge and responsibility, and such foolish administrators live like the animals for the sake of their own personal interest. The result is that the whole atmosphere becomes surcharged with anarchy and vicious elements. Nepotism, bribery, cheating, aggression, and therefore famine, epidemic, war, and similar other disturbing features become prominent in human society. And the devotees of the Lord or the faithful are persecuted by all means. All these symptoms indicate the time of an incarnation of the Lord to re-establish the principles of religion and to vanquish the maladministrators. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord then appears in his transcendental form without any tinge of material qualities. He descends just to keep the state of his creation in a normal condition. The normal condition is that the Lord has provided each and every planet with all the needs of the native living beings. They can happily live and execute their predestined occupations to attain salvation at the end, following the rules and regulations mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The material world is created to satisfy the whims of the Nitya Baddha or everlasting conditioned souls, just as naughty boys are provided with playing cradles. Otherwise, there was no need of the material world. But when they become intoxicated with the power of material science to exploit the resources unlawfully without the sanction of the Lord, and that also only for sense gratification, there is necessity of the Lord's incarnation to chastise the rebellious and to protect the faithful. When he descends, he exhibits superhuman acts just to prove his supreme right, and materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and Kamsa are sufficiently punished. He acts in a manner which no one can imitate. For example, the Lord, when he appeared as Ram, bridged the Indian Ocean. When he appeared as Krishna, from his very childhood, he showed superhuman activities by killing Putna, Aghasura, Saktasura, Kalia, etc. And then his maternal uncle Kamsa. When he was at Dwarka, he married 16,108 queens, and all of them were blessed with a sufficient number of children. The sum total of his personal family members amounted to about 1 lakh, popularly known as a Yaduvamsa. And again, during his lifetime, he managed to vanquish them all. He is famous as the Govardhandhari Hari because he lifted at the age of only 7 the hill known as Govardhana. The Lord killed many undesirable kings in his time, and as a Kshatriya, he fought chivalrously. He is famous as Asamordhava, unparalleled. No one is equal to or greater than him. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Translation. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord in his transcendental form manifests his supreme power. The truth positive shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as it is necessary in different periods and ages. So, which is the shloka in Bhagavad Gita, which says that Krishna will come, right? He to show the merciful and faithful. Krishna will come and perform the activities. It is the
Is it from
shloka.
chapter 4? Yada yada hi dharmasya?
Yes.
Mhm.
Can you tell the shloka? Verse, full verse.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyutanam sujanmaham.
Yeah, Abhyuta Dharmasya
Yeah,
Tadatmaram Sujabhyam. There is one more
tadatmarat
shloka.
sujam.
What the eighth shloka?
Okay.
परित्राणाय साधूनां
Yes.
विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Yuge yuge.
Yeah. So it says that whenever there is a decline in religion and Paritranaya sadhunam, to protect the devotees, to annihilate the demons, and to protect the dharma, Krishna will come. In every millennium, Krishna will take the he manifests, in different forms. So there are different avatars. I mean, there are many incarnations, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that we can't even there just like there are so many waves in the ocean. So similarly, the Lord's incarnation are innumerable, and few of them have been mentioned in the Bhagavatam in our scriptures. So not everything. So on the primary ones we know. The first one was like, which was the first avatar of the Lord in the Satya Yuga?
Matsya.
Yes, yes, Matsya Avatara. No, why the Lord had to come in the Matsya Avatara? What is the form? Matsya means the fish, no, fish incarnation. That was the first incarnation. So why did the Lord come actually? Even
Was he saving one Manu in the boat along with all the rishis to when the universe was inundating? Yeah,
correct. So he comes like they were the Satyavrata, no? He was the next Manu. So then he was a king. He was a king called Satyavrata. So basically, what happens? There was a demon called Hayagriva. So he had taken the Vedas and he had put in the depth of a ocean from the Lord Brahma. So when Lord Brahma was sleeping, he takes the Vedas and put it in the depth of the ocean. So only a fish can go in the depth, no, in the ocean. So Lord has to come as a fish. So when he comes as a fish, so how does it happen? Like one day, this king goes to the ocean and he was like taking like water in the hand. So I think it's a river. He went so that time, he saw a small fish in his hand. So what did he do? So the fish was crying. So don't put me back here. So I will die. I mean, there are many big because we know that big fishes eat the small fishes. So he thought he felt compassion and he brought it home. I mean, he put in this kamandalu and he brought it, and then he placed in a in his some bigger vessel, and then he sees that it kept on growing, right? And immediately he then had to transfer to different water bodies, like from the lake, and then he put wherever he put it expanded itself, and finally he put it to ocean. It expanded so much, so big, and then he realized it could be because he was a great devotee. He realized it should be Lord himself. uh, and then the Lord says, okay, now I mean the world is going to Anil. I mean it's coming to end. Satyuga, it's of end of Satyuga. He says that you have to take all the sages and the animals, all the species of animals along with you and the sages, because they have to create another. The world has to be again created because he will be the Manu for next. So you bring everyone in a boat, and when you have to tie that. Now we can see on the in that incarnation. I mean, it is tied to the fish. What is that called? Uh,
The gills of the fish on the head, is it?
yeah, on the
The
head
he
there is a
he
yeah.
the fish takes the boat and he swims across and
Correct. He
relieves
asked
them.
that you tie that, no, the serpent Vasuki, and then you make it as a rope, and you don't worry, I will make sure that I will take you all. So then that's how we can look for that picture. That would be so. So that's how he saves them, right? So in the fish, in that avatar. So similarly, Krishna, I mean, the Lord comes in different whenever it like Prabhupada gives no here, like necessary in different period of age. So likewise, he comes as also Lord Buddha also, uh, because many times it is misinterpreted. So because there in first as a Matsya Avatar when he came to protect the Vedas. But in the Buddha Avatara, the Lord came and said that you reject the Vedas because that was necessary at that period of time. Because he came to establish the Ahimsa Tattva. Because people had become so cruel and killing the animals. Because for the Lord, every animal is same. No? Because they are all Mabai Vamsha Jivaloke. See, Krishna says, Mabai Vamsha Jivaloke, Jivaloka Sanatana. And also he says, Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Aham Bija Pradapita. So in all the species, I'm the seed giving father. So he is concerned about all the living entities, not just we, because he's there in every, he's a father. So he comes there to protect the other living entities, because the animal killing was very much, uh, the people were become very cruel, and they were killing animals. So now also we see in Kali Yuga also, like there are, why is there so many slaughterhouses? It's because of advancement. I mean, the people are ignorant. When there is a more ignorant, at the end of Kali Yuga, Krishna will come as Kalki. So, so that is what the Buddha avatar also, because of that, he had to come and tell that, because people were quoting the Vedas, because in one of some of the Puranas, where Vyasadeva has only given, no, in the Tamasic Purana, so where it was said that once in a month or in a, you can give Bali, that is sacrifice in front of Kali Mata. But there was a regulations was there regulatively. So because all the Vedas, in Vedas also it is shows regulatively how one can upgrade oneself and come to a level of uh, the highest, like worship of the Lord Krishna. But then for the not everybody in the same consciousness, right? So that is why it was given, different things were given in the different Puranas. So by people were misusing that. So to stop it, Lord has to come as Lord Buddha. So like that, Krishna comes, takes different incarnation whenever there is a requirement. So in in the early stage of Kali Yuga, Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Oh, that is also only the 28th millennium, it is said. In Brahma's one day, only once Krishna will come, and only once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come in Brahma's one day. So, and we are fortunate that it is very recently they were there, right? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came because of the external reason, is one of the external reason. Advaita Prabhu, he prayed to the Lord that people are becoming very materialistic and engaged in sense gratification. That is why he has to come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gave us the Hare Krishna mantra, Mahamantra, no? The Sankirtana. He was the one who started the Sankirtana movement and gave us the Hare Krishna mantra, and which is very easy to perform in Kali Yuga. Not the other mantras. It may be there. Like some people ask, like, okay, when Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj, they were like saying the Narad Muni gave them Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Why cannot I chant that? We can do that, but then it's always recommended for certain like, just like if for some diseases there is a particular medicine, right? Only by giving that medicine only we'll get cured. uh, if somebody is having a typhoid, if you give a normal medicine like crocin or some paracetamol, that will not work. No, the some antibiotic is required. So similarly, for this yuga particularly, the only Hare Krishna mantra will have the proper effect. So that is why it is said, uh, Hare Rama, Hare Rama eva kevalam, kalo nasti eva nasti gatir anyata. Because only this Hari Nam will take, because Kali, it is said in Kali Yuga, Lord has come in the form of name. That is why the chanting is very uh, 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 effective in Kali Yuga. So the chanting is given more preference. That is why Prabhupada has given us to chant 16 rounds. No? Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So he comes in different incarnation, and also why? Because whenever the kings, it is mentioned here, kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest mode. So actually, the king is a representative. Krishna says, the Naranancha Naradipam, right? That means I am the key of human, of the man. I represent the king. So when a king is represented, when the Krishna is, it is actually they are taking a position. So they are a representative of the Lord. So that means they have to give proper administration. Otherwise, they are punishable. So when they are not doing proper administration and not giving the the subjects what is required, I mean, they are not leading them to the path of right knowledge. So then what happens? Krishna has to himself come to this material world, and he will have to give that. So even in chapter 4, we see Krishna says that before Kali Yuga, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjuna because he was concerned about the people of Kali Yuga. So there Krishna says that this knowledge was given already to the sun god, no, Vivasvan. But then it was given to the Raja Rishis. So by the through disciplic succession, it was being given. So those time, all those kings were very qualified. They were all Raja Rishis and very knowledgeable. And they knew the purpose of life, and they knew that Krishna is the supreme uh, proprietor and controller, right? So they lived in that way, like Ishavasya principle. Actually, in this puppet, we can see that two things are stressed here. One is that everything belongs to the Lord. So this awareness should be there in the king or the ruler, and same thing he has to give to his the subjects. But when that is not done, and people become like more of communist, no? There are the people like in there are some countries. Communist means they think that everything belongs to the state. There are capitalist and communist. So the communists, they think that everything belongs to state, and they want to artificial equality they try to create. So by that, what happens? Everybody will get equally. So then it will give rise to like the talent is not identified, and what will happen? The people become lazy. So these things will happen. So Prabhupada says that Bhagavatam stresses on. Bhagavatam also speaks about communism, but it is Bhagavata communism. Bhagavata communism means everything belongs to Lord. So the the people, they what they say, everything belongs to state, but in Bhagavata communism means it is everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. So Krishna says, and the second shloka also is mentioned here, which says that everybody has their quota, right? We should not take more than what is uh, mentioned in the scriptures. So we can where is that? Foolish administrator likely for their own personal interest. So somewhere it is there. So basically, it speaks about the whatever is our quota. The Ishopanishad second shloka also speaks Ishavasya midam sarvam it kincha jagatam jagat tena tyaktena bujjita magruda kasyat svinsaram. One should not aspire for another's money or which belong to somebody else. So there are some things which is sanctioned by the Lord. So Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Doyam. So he accepts a water, a flower, a fruit, and uh, a leaf. So, but these Krishna does not mention about the animal killing at all. We don't see that. No, that is not sanctioned by the Lord. But then, if people are more and more engaged in that and killing of animals, right? So obviously, then the Lord will have to take some action. So it is said when there is a king is very pious, or the ruling the administration. Whoever is there in that seat, if they are really pious and religious, then people in the state are very happy. That there is a symptoms even when we see that when a demoniac person is born, like when the Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they both were born, they were all bad symptoms. We see this in Canto 3, if you see detailed explanation how whole nature was disturbed actually. There was a cry by animals, and the all were terrified. All the animals, the nature also was giving a sign, and there were natural calamities happening. So these are all signs. Even Prabhupada gives there in the purport that whenever a demonic person is born, so there is so much calamity in the nature. So it's a sign that the ruler is not good. So similarly, when Yudhishthira Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, these people were ruling the country, it is said people were so happy and everything were, nature were also giving everything, was very cooperative and there was no natural calamities or these things. So, uh, but now we don't have such thing. No, slowly Prabhupada gives here that slowly after over the time, the monopoly is also gone, and also there is only democracy, and people are like they're not qualified people who are coming to power. So because of that, we see, Prabhupada gives here that therefore famine, epidemic, war, similar disturbing features become prominent in human society. So this is all because the when the king or the administrators are not pious, also this happens. So one should, when people don't think, they don't give credit to Krishna's uh, creation, or they don't accept that everything belongs to God. So, so even a small example, whatever we see, the so Ishavasi, it says that whatever we see in the nature, it is either the material, it can be material or spiritual, it is the energy of the God. So, if we take a table, right? So a table is also is a it does not have a life, but then because all the living entities we know that Krishna says that I am Bija Pradapita. So what about the non-living entities? That also non-living entities, if we have to take anything, it is either of the five material elements. It's made of the five material elements: earth, water, ether, fire, air. So it is also Krishna says that is my external energy in chapter 7. No, so it's not different. So if even if we take anything with no table, chair, or anything, so that is also coming from where? Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu. So it is coming from Bhumi, that is earth, right? From the earth, like there is a tree, and from the tree we make wood, and from the wood. So, but then the cause is Krishna. So when the Lord is the cause of all causes, Ishvara Parama Krishna's Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. So the Lord is cause of all causes. So we are using all his properties, and Krishna has given us to use it, but then we should not misuse it. So how much ever required, because here also it is given, because of our rebellious mentality, Krishna had to, because we are naughty children of God, Krishna had to create this material world, which is not real. No, just like here comparison is given, the naughty boys are provided playing cradles, like just like to fool them. So by we know the artificial phone the children will have, no, we just went earlier. Now the children will ask for the real phone. So if you give that, by seeing that, they'll become quiet. So similarly, Krishna had made this material world which has all that facility, I mean everything, because this which is there in spiritual world, but it is all contaminated. We don't have the pure form. Even in the relationships, whatever we have here is a contaminated. So, because that is why material world is said to be the perverted form of the spiritual world. So this was created. So here Prabhupada says, otherwise there was no need of the material world. No, there was no need. But then when people become intoxicated with the power of material science to exploit the resource unlawfully without sanction of Lord, and that also only for sense gratification, then necessity of Lord incarnation to chastise the rebellious and to protect the faithful. So when we forget that what is the real purpose of human life, because one gets this human life after 84 lakh species, but then if he forgets and also misuse the properties of this universe, then Krishna has to come. So that's what he did. So he wanted to kill all the demonic kings in Kurukshetra. That is why Krishna came, and that was his purpose. And he kills. And Arjuna was just a cause. We see that Krishna had already planned to kill all of them. So Krishna will come whenever there is a decline in religion, he takes a different incarnation, and but though he comes in, Prabhupada gives here that many people, demonic people, they don't understand even after seeing the superhuman acts by the Lord. So Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata. My janma, my birth and my activities are all divine. No? So, but people don't understand. So still there, the people, when the Lord comes, they don't believe. His activities are not normal. You see here, like when he's so small at the age of, when he was just a infant and he was able to kill such a big demon, Putana. And at the age of 7, he was able to lift the Govardhan. That too a little finger, right? That too for 7 days and 7 nights. So it is not ordinary. So may divyam, transcendental. So everything of the Lord is transcendental, and that is why it is said here. It's said he is known as asamordhva, which means unparalleled. No one is equal or greater to him, because everything has come from him only. There is nobody greater or above him. No? So this is the essence of this verse. That is, everything belongs to the Lord, and whenever there is a decline in religion, so at a different period, he comes in different forms and manifests different transcendental activities. So with this we can stop here. This is complete. I think this next is, let's see which are the prayers. Okay. Next is prayers by Shukadeva Goswami, 12 to 23, 2.4.12 to 23. Around level. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'm having
Hare
very
Krishna, Mataji.
bad cold, so
Yes, Mataji. Can
thanks
make
for
out.
bearing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji. Take
Hare
Hare
care.
Krishna, Mataji. Take rest,
Thank you so
Mataji.
much. Yeah,
Take
yeah.
rest.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thanks for joining. Ancha
Yes, Mataji.
kalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिद्धि एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। रामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Prabhupada.
हरे कृष्ण। Can
Hare
we chant
Krishna.
3 times? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare. Hare
Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna, everyone.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.